Yo, we will be starting shortly. Thanks for stopping by, man. No worries. And what's up, Twin Steel? It's nice to see you. I'm just getting a few things together last minute here. And we will start in just a few minutes. For those of you guys who are around, how's the audio? Always trying to adjust. Five out of five. What's up, Francois? I hope I'm saying that right. We got the big thumbs up from Twin Steel. The signature Twin Steel thumbs up. Always happy to see it. Alright, I suppose. Let me close Discord. Audio's loud and clear. Perfect, thank you. Francois. Which I hope I'm saying right. And if I am, might I say, that is a very fancy name. What's up, guys? What an intro. All right, we are live. How's everyone doing? I guess for most of you guys, or all of you guys, I'm assuming it's the evening. For me, it is morning. It is Saturday morning. And I am enjoying me a cup of Ethiopian coffee that I stole from my fiance. Alive? That's all we can ask for, man. Yeah, this coffee tastes like berries, and I enjoy it greatly. Face reveal. It's me. It's the Paladin. Sorry, guys. Turns out I'm not a tiny little chubby blue cartoon. Hey, I know Sharon. What's up, homie? Thanks for joining. Friday at 5 p.m. here on the Pacific. Yeah, I've been basing my stream times, like my announcement times at least, off of Eastern Standard Time, just because that's where I'm from originally. For those that don't know, although I'm pretty sure everyone here knows, I live in Tokyo, but I'm from Philadelphia originally. So I don't know. I want to start experimenting with different stream times because I feel like perhaps this isn't the most ideal time to be streaming, but it's a little tricky because in Japan, you know, I'm in the future. So it's Saturday morning here for me, but in the Western world, it's Friday night. And then obviously I have a day job. 8 p.m. here in Montreal? Yeah. So Montreal, Philly, New York, Toronto, the East Coast of the Americas. So yeah, we'll think about it. By the way, as we get going here, as we get into it, I call AI, you can't fool us with your handsome human face. You got me. Can you imagine? Yeah, I'm not a tiny little chubby blue cartoon. Unfortunately, I'm just a very handsome man. So I'm sorry to disappoint. Oh man, I forgot to put my eye drops in. My eyes are scratchy. Do you guys mind if I put in eye drops real quick? It's gonna look like I'm crying and I'm very sad. Wow. It's like a ice cold eyeball shower. It's like a David Goggins eyeball experience. Oh. Oh yeah. Alright, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Pinned comment. We got a Discord going. I believe, Francois, I don't know if I've seen you around the Discord yet. But if you haven't joined, I highly recommend that you do so. We've actually got another Montrealer in the Discord, the Dungeons Key, friend of the channel, game designer extraordinaire, the Dungeons Key. The Discord's completely free to join. We had over 50 people join in the first 24 hours. That was amazing. So I'm very happy about that. And it's turning into a great little community. Obviously, we focus on talking about tabletop role-playing games, but all sorts of tabletop gaming. We've got some board gamers in the Discord. And, you know, just chatting about life. 54 strong, exactly, Andrew. So if you haven't joined already, I highly recommend you join the Discord. Also, before we get started, we've got a donation goal of a single blue super chat. For me, that's about 200 yen. For other people money, I'm not exactly sure, but it's significantly less than a bottle of water, I would venture to say, from the convenience store. And if you donate a blue super chat, we will name an NPC after yourself, or, you know, you can just come up with a name. That would work as well. And any and all donations go directly towards improving the channel. So right now, I've been saving up all my AdSense money and all my, basically all the money I've been making from selling my adventures towards new equipment, basically. New equipment. Also, getting new games to review for the channel, things like that, is what your donations would go towards. So I just want to be clear about that. Having said all of that, we are at the start of the stream. It is start time. So, last time, we had a very busy chat, and we got to work coming up with the concept of this dungeon. And essentially, what we decided on was what I would like to call a Canopy-Crawl, because I think that sounds really cool and unique. And so this dungeon is set in the canopy of an ancient, verdant rainforest. And we came up with some background lore. And that background lore is that every X amount of years, I'm thinking we can use a word like aeons in the final product because that sounds mysterious and cool. But a floating island descends from the heavens, from the skies above, and kind of comes down and floats in the middle of the canopy. Hey, what's up, Swords and Stones? Thanks for coming back, man. Swords and Stones was a big part of last stream. And so this island floats in the center of the canopy. And because of this occurrence, because of this phenomenon, several factions either already live in this rainforest or come to the rainforest in search of a treasure that they believe exists in this floating island, which we determined was an egg. And it is the egg of a lovebird couple. So essentially, this Canopy-Crawl is all about this mystery of this floating island in the middle of the canopy, and the end goal for the players as well as the other factions is to get the egg. Oh my lord. What's up, man? Holy Shit. Does that say Australian $40 for the Tory Key skewers? Holy shit. I travel sometimes. Thank you so much, man. That was, whoa. What a way to start the stream. That really took the wind out of me in a good way. Thank you so much for that. I will, you know what? If you insist, I may just go out and get me some Tory Key skewers. If anyone in the chat isn't aware, Torikizuku is a very famous, very popular yakitori chain restaurants here in glorious Nippon. And holy crap, 40, I believe A, does A mean Australian? 40 bones of anybody's measure is more than enough. I travel sometimes. You are the first person to ever donate. Thank you so much. That's incredible. And yeah, man, let me know in the chat. If you stick around, just let me know. You can name an NPC, obviously, after yourself. If we want to name the NPC I travel sometimes, we can do that for you. But if you want to come up with another name, or your real God-given name, let me know. And everybody, give a big thanks to I Travel Sometimes. Holy crap. That was crazy. Well, we smashed that goal pretty quick, didn't we? I'm gonna set another one. Just for the folks at home. But once again, thank you so much, dude. Holy shit. You got me cursing. Okay. So, last time, we came up with a bunch of ideas. Call him Rock. Absolutely. Oh. I know who you are. I didn't even know who you were, dude. I don't... Do you want me to, like, do you want me to out you? Here, I'll just put it up here for now. NPC name list. Rock. So that's actually really funny. I know I travel sometimes, I believe. Unless it's just a wild coincidence, but good homie, friend of the channel. One of my longtime friends and D&D players. So, Rock will be in this adventure, for sure. So last stream, we came up with a bunch of ideas, and the Notion page was just like full of chaos. And so I went through for this stream and I kind of distilled it down. But the goal for this stream, what I really want to get done this time, is to start working on designing some encounters. Lolo, want me to out you? Go ahead, make my day. I don't know, you know, sometimes I've got some friends, some people that I know in real life in the chat, but of course everyone's got their internet names, and no worries, man. Thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate it a lot. You know, I just don't necessarily want to use people's real names if they don't want to be put out there on the internet. Twin Steel, no worries, man. Go get them kids. I'll see you next time. So, for everybody else sticking around, I've distilled everything that we came up with on the last stream down to some more workable parts. But what I want to focus on this time is designing the encounters. So, in a traditional dungeon, right, a lot of the encounters are kind of hard-coded into the rooms. So, you enter X room and X thing happens, right? But because of the nature of the adventure that we came up with, I was thinking, and I wrote down here, let's explore a random encounter-based design structure. And what I mean by this is that a few core rooms are hard-coded into the dungeon, but the rest are randomly generated encounters that can be used throughout the smaller rooms and hallways. And my computer went to sleep last night, and then I lost my dungeon scrawl page, and I forgot to save it last time. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give you guys a rough idea of the map that we were kind of hashing out last time. But we'll say like this is the floating island in the middle, right? And then what I'm thinking is there's basically 2 or maybe even 3 rings that surround the floating island. I mean, the island should be bigger. Like that. And then these rooms will be connected with hallways. Like so. And then it's going to web out. So then we have like another ring of rooms around this one. And again, this is just to give us like a rough visual idea. And I'll be fleshing out the map later on. But essentially, I'm thinking it's going to look something like this. And then we can really jacquet the rooms together. I friggin' love Dungeon Scrawl. Yeah, man. It's really helpful. And then so I'm thinking we can like web the rooms together kind of like this. Because, again, we need to keep in mind, we're designing a Canopy-Crawl here. So we're imagining that all of these rooms represent, I'm thinking like the big rooms, they kind of represent trees, like the tops of big trees. And then all the hallways in between can be, you know, tangled up vines and thickets and things like that. And so we also really start to kind of jacquet the dungeon together, meaning that it's all very connected. But because of the kind of haphazard nature of the map, my thought process is it would be interesting and add a lot of replayability to this dungeon if the individual encounters don't necessarily have to be, you know, hard-coded into the dungeon itself. And so anytime the players enter a new treetop, they can roll up a new encounter. And then every time they go in through the hallways, there can be, every once in a while, there can be some hallway encounters as well. So, I don't know, does that make sense to you guys? Something like that. So, because of that, we need to flesh out some encounters. Now, we've already came up with some core ideas last time. But first, I'm going to go over the factions again real quick. So the first faction, of course, is the most important faction, and that is the party. Treetops. Maybe animated thorn bushes pop up randomly to grab them. Yeah, exactly. I'll throw... Let's see. I guess for right now, I'll just start throwing our random ideas up here. Thorn bushes. Or I think we have threats. So yeah, like thorn bushes, exactly, that could work. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So, the factions. The first one, the most important one, is the party. And especially for like these one-shot adventures that we design here on the channel, it's important to give the party a little bit of a background story and motivation, so when the players come to the table, they can hit the ground running. And I'm thinking essentially that they've heard the legends of this this floating island and the treasures that it contains, and so, you know, they come into the jungle in search of it. One of the other factions is birds, like tropical birds. That was the original theme that we decided on that got us to this point. And I think the birds are neutral. So they're not adversarial to the party necessarily, or any of the other factions, but they want to protect the rainforest because it's their home, and they want to recover the egg safely that is contained within the island. Then we have lizard folk. So last session, we decided that there is a clan of lizard people who are dressed up as archaeologists. And one of them is named Nigel, and he's actually a turtle man. And he's the only real archaeologist. But they are also here to get the egg for its legendary purposes. And then I think the lizard folk could be either adversarial or neutral. So the lizard folk could be friend or foe. And then finally we have the apes. So the apes also live in the jungle naturally with the birds, but the apes are adversarial. The apes are very greedy. They're very kind of like unga bunga, and they want to eat the egg because they believe if they eat the egg that it will create, it will give them immortality, I should say. And then Obis, I remember it was Obis last time in the stream. He came up with the name Chimpanzee. And so I think we're going to name the top ape Chimpanzee. So he's kind of like the ape boss. Little way to pick a boring human to dress up as lizards. Although Andy is an archaeologist. Indy is an archaeologist. Yeah. And then so the elements of which we design our encounters around are our timers, threats, and treats. So we came up with the idea that for the timer is that there's like, because you know, egg timer, like if you're boiling an egg, a soft boiled egg or something like that, use an egg timer. So there is the egg moon, and the legend that surrounds this egg and the floating island is that when there is a full moon, that is when you have to eat the egg to gain immortality. So when the adventure starts, we narrate, we write in the dungeon, and the GM will narrate that the sun is setting and that the egg needs to be recovered by the full moon. We also said that there could possibly be some water-based challenges, which I still think we could explore, you know, so you don't want to drown, etc. And of course, the factions are all vying for the eggs. So I really want to bring this kind of like fun, chaotic chase energy to this dungeon. Like these 3 factions plus the players are all rushing to find the egg and kind of get there before anybody else. And then of course for threats, that could be anything like traps. So I wrote down some ideas that we got here. Flesh-eating plants, slipping on banana peels, water-based traps, thorn bushes, as swords and stones just contributed. Poison dart frogs, I think that could be really fun. You know, the kind of typical trope of poison darts. That's also very Indiana Jones. But because we're in this kind of tropical Canopy-Crawl, poison dart frogs could work. Dinosaurs. That was from last stream as well. We were really on a dinosaur kick for a while. And I think the dinosaur is going to be kind of this twist at the end. And then we've got like rolling barrels, etc. I'm also really inspired by Donkey Kong Country and kind of late 90s, early 2000s Rare video games like Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong 64. And then of course treats. So our treats are the NPCs, advice maps, treasures, fossils, water-breathing ammonite gills is something that we had. Nuclear infected mosquitoes. What an idea. That also feels very rareware to me. And then so obviously treats is basically, you know, treasures, magic items, things that the players can recover and kind of be rewarded by for clearing the challenges and encounters in the dungeon. So now that we have all of that in review, what I want to start doing today with you guys is fleshing out some of these core encounters. So we know that the jungle floor intro, actually, I'm going to pull that up in last week's. We already wrote out the dungeon intro, which I think was really cool. So this is kind of like the introductory encounter that gets them up into the jungle. So our heroes start on the jungle floor in search of this ancient floating temple, but the canopy is so thick and verdant that they can't see above them. It blots out the sky itself. The jungle floor is crawling with these flesh-eating plants. We roll initiative. So I want to start actually kind of fleshing out, no pun intended, with the flesh-eating plants, what this encounter really looks like. And from there, we know that Nigel will help the party escape. So Nigel is the turtle archaeologist. But actually, now that I'm saying this, I'm wondering if maybe Chimpanzee, who's like the boss ape, maybe he comes and saves the party. The idea is that Nigel is caught in a trap, and then that kind of telegraphs a trap. I don't know, we'll think about it. But what do we think flesh-eating plant encounter would look like? So I'm thinking we narrate that the party gets under the canopy, and then the flesh-eating plants kind of swarm up around them. Way too much fun, my friend. Gotta go. Have a great night and keep them rolling. Yeah, no worries, man. I'll see you next time. Thanks for participating and joining. So I'm thinking the flesh-eating plants. Let's make like a sub. Let's make a subheading here. This would be like an H4. H3 is let's go. All right. So Nigel has a torch. Plant monsters are vulnerable to fire. Birds are afraid of fire. Monkeys want to steal the fire. Yeah. All right. So what we want to do is start kind of like detailing the nature of the plants themselves and how that encounter will play out. So I'm trying to think. I feel like some like moves or attacks. Francois. A flesh-eating plant can lure the party like a Venus flytrap. It could work like a charm person spell. That's a good idea. Venus flytrap. Yeah, so we want to start coming up with basically it's almost like the monster blocks or like the monster traits, you know, their abilities. So we could say like a sweet scent emanates from a colorful plant. I can't spell. So sweet scent emanates from a colorful plant, and then one player, if the player broaches, they have to make a save. Like, are we thinking like a wisdom save? Probably a wisdom save or a charisma save. Make a whiz save. On a failure, lured into plants. And then attacks. So, yeah, sweet intoxicating smell. There you go. Sweet intoxicating smell. Emanates. There we go. Emanates from a colorful plant. Player approaches, make a whiz save. Hey, Nelly-san, what's up, homie? Could also be a con save for spores. Yeah. I think we'll hold on to that because there's plenty of more opportunities for like up in the canopy. Although like mushies and stuff would make more sense on the forest floor, I think. But so for attacks, when we said Venus flytrap, immediately what I thought of is like Victory Bell, like the Pokemon. And I'm thinking like a Vine Whip, you know, a classic Vine Whip. And then maybe if it hits, players have to make a con check or con save. Totoro, otherwise grappled and slowly get an eating plus acid. Yeah, exactly. Or I guess this would be strength. Make a strength save. On a failure, get pulled into the Venus flytrap. And then we'll say like acid bath. Cause that sounds pretty metal, something like that. Acid bath. So if grappled into the plant, players suffer. So this is just like the first encounter. And I tend to design one-shots that are meant for lower level players. So they can be easily converted into 5th edition or 5.5 D&D, but you could also play them with a more OSR style system. So I'm thinking maybe at the top of each round, players suffer D4 acid damage at the top of each round. So that's the Venus flytrap. And then I think we need like one other kind of flesh-eating plant to kind of round out the encounter. So we've got the Vine Whip and the Acid Bath for the Venus flytrap. Of course, the other plants could, we'll just say Flesh Eater for now. They could also have the Vine Whip, because this is just the early first encounter. And then same thing. And then maybe like a thorn spit or something like that. Flying thorns, we'll say for right now. +2 to hit, and then, you know, D4 piercing damage. And then we can say maybe it's, how many do we think there are? Maybe like D4 plus 1? D4 plus 1 or 2 total. Well, maybe there's the one Venus flytrap. Yeah, it's like the piranha plant from Mario, exactly. So there's one Venus flytrap, and then the flesh eaters will say there's D4. And then after X rounds, maybe so the DM rolls a timer, and we'll say after D6 rounds, I don't know. Now I'm torn. Is it Chimpanzee or is it Nigel, the turtle archaeologist? I guess it makes sense that it would be the turtle archaeologist. So Nigel, the turtle archaeologist. He swings down from a vine, torch in hand. Both Jim and Nigel try to urge them to go along with him, a la Skyrim. Ooh. That is a good idea, actually. That's a pretty good idea, Nelson. I like that a lot. Because, what I was going to get at anyway, too, is so we've got the archaeologist camp. And I want each of the core factions to have their one, like, room. So the birds have kind of like a base camp room. The archaeologists have a base camp room. And the monkeys have a base camp room. So if both Nigel and the turtle come down to save them, the players can decide who they want to go with. And then that can kind of like set the stage for the rest of the dungeon. Francois, maybe the turtle is immune to the toxic smell? Yeah. Maybe, yeah, we can say that the lizard people are immune to the plants. We can bring that up here. Lizard folk are immune to plant-based toxins. That's a good idea. So, in D6 rounds, Nigel, the turtle archaeologist, swings from a vine, torch in hand, and fends off the flesh. Yeah, it's a trait for the lizard folk, exactly. And fends off the flesh eaters. There's some good berryish fruit that grows on a spiked vine around a tree. The party approaches, make a high perception check, failed check misses. The chameleon warrior is hiding, who gets a surprise round. I know, Sheeran, that is a great idea for... we need to put it... I forgot to put, like... Because... Chameleon warrior. It sounds like it would be... Do we think they would be a part of the lizard people? I don't know. I really like that. Where are we going to put... We'll just put random canopy encounters here. I know, Sharon. That was a great idea, bud. Great idea. Notion. I really want to figure out a more gracious or more graceful solution here. So, good berry, we'll just say enticing fruit that grows on spiked vines. High perception check on a fail. Chameleon warriors is such a good idea. Gets a surprise rounds. Like that, I feel like it's a great random encounter for up in the canopy. Anyway, back down on the ground. After D6 rounds, Nigel, the turtle archaeologist, swings down from the vine, torch in hand, and fends off the flesh eaters with fire. I think what we're going to say is, after the plants are defeated, guys, I cannot spell for shit. I think it's whenever I'm on stream, I just panic and I can't spell. After the plants are defeated, chimpanzee. Wearing suspenders. Because he has to be. I thought the fruit gives HP, so risk reward. Nigel can mention about the fruit or give a fruit to the party earlier. Oh yeah, so maybe like the Venus flytrap thing has a fruit. We still got time to work on that, but I'm gonna hold on to that one for right now. Actually, I don't know. I'm starting to feel like maybe chimpanzee coming down as well kind of like overcomplicates things. Another solution that we could explore is that it's random. The DM decides which one. It's either Nigel or chimpanzee. Maybe we should explore that. I really like adding a lot of randomized dice rolls to my dungeons. So we'll say roll a d6. On a 1 through 3, Nigel helps the party. On a 4 through 6, chimpanzee helps the party. So now we'll figure out what happens if Nigel comes. So Nigel, the turtle archaeologist, swings down from a vine, torch in hands, and fends off the flesh eaters with fire. We'll say for now, again, keep in mind, this is stuff that I'm going to have to flesh out later on. So the actual prose of the final product is not being finalized here. This is more for ideation and note-taking. So he explains to the party that the jungle floor is dangerous, but he has a camp up in the canopy, offers to bring the players up into the camp. And then I don't know if anybody here has checked out my dungeon Rotten Foundations, but the writing style that I like to bring to my dungeons is using action statements underneath the room descriptions to kind of guide the GM through what the players might decide and what would happen if the players go that way. So we just say something like, go with Nigel, or like trust Nigel, something like that. And players arrive in the archaeologist camp. And then maybe Nigel I think maybe Nigel will offer them a torch. Nigel offers the party a torch and explains to fend off the various flora with fire. Fight flora with fire. And then, like, we can say, you know, fight flora with fire. And then we can say it's plus 1d6 damage to all plant-based monsters, but also gain the attention of the apes, because we decided last time that the apes want to steal the fire. You know, the apes are kind of big dumb. They don't understand fire fully, but they know that it's powerful and dangerous, and so they are drawn to it and they want to steal it for themselves. So kind of like if you go with Nigel, you come into the archaeologist camp, you get this torch. The torch mechanic reminds me of Shadowdark because it's temporary. Exactly. And I think this dungeon would work great for Shadowdark. I'm actually I'm almost done working on this dungeon. Actually the last dungeon that we designed on stream, the Hive of the Firebeat Queen, and I ended up adapting it to Shadowdark because it works so well with that system. So it's going to be usable with 5.5 edition D&D and Shadowdark. And I think moving forward, I'm going to try to follow that system structure. And I think this could be like a really interesting Shadowdark dungeon because it's based in like a canopy. So it's kind of like the exact opposite of being deep underground. But because the sun is setting and the canopy is so thick and dense, the players, you know, we could say that the players still need torches to see. So you gain the attention of the apes. Okay, so that's the Nigel route. So what about the chimpanzee route? So chimpanzee will say king of the apes with a coconut crown, because that sounds funny. With a coconut crown and dirty suspenders, leaps down from the canopy and so what can chimpanzee bring to the party that makes him unique from Nigel? I think chimpanzee, like, he's an evil dude, you know? He's kind of giving me like original Donkey Kong vibes, villain Donkey Kong vibes. So I think he's really gonna kind of try to deceive the party. I think he wants to set the party up. And I think maybe he would want to try to turn the party against the archaeologists because the archaeologists have fire. So Chimpanzee, King of the Apes, with a coconut crown and dirty suspenders, leaps down from the canopy and uses his brute strength to help the party defeat the plants. Yeah, Chimpanzee is sketch, but he knows the lay of the land. Exactly. So Chimpanzee, King of the Apes, with a coconut crown and dirty suspenders, leaps down for the canopy, helps defeat the plants. And then go with Chimpanzee. Well, first right here, he urges the party to come with him and explains the presence of the archaeologists and urges the players to help the apes, drive them to help the apes, maybe like raid the archaeologist camp to gain their, like, to steal their equipment. So go with Chimpanzee. I actually like learns the lay of the land. Learn the lay of the land. Maybe like players get +2 to all perception, or like to all, yeah, perception based rolls for D6 hours, something like that. And then I think I want to telegraph somehow the idea that Chimpanzee is kind of, so how do we, it's like learn the lay of the land. Maybe like for now we can just say skeptical, become skeptical, roll like a whiz check to determine the ape's true motives, something like that. So maybe like if a player is like, hey, I feel like this chimpanzee here is kind of a sketchy character, seems like a bit of a sketchy dude, they can determine that. But again, we'll workshop that later. So jungle floor intro encounter, pretty much fleshed out. All right. And then, so the idea from here is that there will be like the archaeologist camp. There will be the monkey, the ape base, I guess we can say. The monkey base, ape base. Random canopy encounters, enticing fruit that grows on spiked vines. Excuse me. I actually really like this random encounter. And then also, I was thinking stuff like rope vine bridges, vine rope swings. And then we also have the temple, the floating island, which is the finale. Follow Nigel equals take a longer path with more encounters, but easier. That's not a bad idea either. The thing is though about that, Francois, is so my idea is basically the monkey room and the archaeologist room will be on opposite sides of the map. And from there, the rooms become randomly generated. So I think getting the torches from Nigel is kind of like the boon, the benefit of being saved by him. And then being saved by Chimpanzee gives the players the ability to add a bonus to their perception rolls, so they become a bit more like street smart, if you will, in the dungeon. The crawl. Yo, dude, I'm wrapping up work for the day, so I'll be lurking along, but wanted to make sure to drop in and say what's up. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much, man. Guys, for anybody watching that doesn't know, The Crawl runs an amazing YouTube channel focused on dungeon crawling video games. I love his channel. Honestly, one of my favorite YouTubers. And there's clearly a lot of interesting overlap between our channels. I'm obviously very interested in dungeons and dungeon design, but I'm more focused on the tabletop side of things. However, I do love me a good dungeon crawling video game, like Etrian Odyssey, etc. So it's really good to see you, man. I remember you mentioned, didn't you get a job at GameSpot? You're writing at GameSpot now, right? The other cool thing about The Crawl and I is that we're both freelance writers. I actually haven't been in the journo industry in a little while now, but yeah, that was also something really cool that we both have in common, is that we're both freelance writers. So I appreciate the shout out, man. Yeah, dude, of course. You make amazing content. And I'm proud of you for all your endeavors, dude. So yeah, come lurk, come hang out. If anything strikes your fancy or you get any ideas, definitely let me know. So, the ape base in the archaeologist camp. Yeah, I'm a full-time editor there now. That's awesome. Congratulations, man. That's huge. I hope it's treating you well. So yeah, guys, The Crawl is an editor at GameSpot. And a very passionate dungeon crawler fan. So, from here, let's start fleshing out the archaeologist camp, because if you go with Chimpanzee, you're going to the ape base. If you go with the archaeologist camp, you're going to start in the archaeologist camp. And then from there, when you branch out, no pun intended, all the encounters will start to become random in nature as we get closer towards the floating island. Went and subbed and came back. Haha. Hey, Stormblood. Thanks for joining, man. And yeah, definitely, it's a great sub. I would go back and check out all of his videos. The Crawls did an awesome documentary on Metroid. And I'm not even a huge Metroid fan. Just because of circumstance, I just never really played them back in the day. But it really made me feel excited and passionate about the legacy of Metroid, especially as kind of a dungeon crawling video game. And yeah, there's just a ton of great stuff there. Like, if you're interested in obscure Japanese dungeon crawlers, like wizardry, I made a video about the history of Japanese RPGs and how it all connects back to Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah, just, you know, very similar interests. So highly recommended. Anyway, let's start talking about the archaeologist camp. So I think it's like, it's a big, it's a vast camp set up in the calm, cushy cover of a fluffy, I'm trying to think of like cooler words to use than big or giant, but of a giant fluffy tree. Tents dot the area, and various archaeologists roam about. And I think like it's not even a mystery. I just feel like I really like the absurdity, and again, kind of being inspired by 90s, early 2000s rare video games. Like, these archaeologists roam about very clearly lizard folk in a trench coat kind of situation. I would say then Nigel, once they get up here, Nigel gives, Nigel explains the situation, but he looks quite nervous. And then maybe Nigel reveals to the party that he's been hired. Lizard people. Yeah, man. So Nigel reveals to the party that he's been hired by the lizard folk to help them steal. I always forget which steel it is. I think it's, yeah, steel. No, that's the metal, I think. Whatever. To help them steal the egg for its purported legendary effects. And then I think maybe like Nigel can become a retainer, right? I think that's like what we're getting at here. And I think it was Francois. Yeah, so Francois, you had said earlier, follow Nigel equals take a longer path with more encounters, but easier. So if the players like Nigel, he'll offer to come along with them because he's also trying to get away from these crazy ass lizard people who are pretending to be archaeologists. But also I think we want to add some sort of like interesting encounter to the archaeologist camp. And maybe some treats. So like could get a map. I think the map would be really beneficial. And then also we had said like fossils last time. And maybe the fossils, maybe it's like a fossil map. So the treats of this room is like a fossilized map of the dungeon. I might be late and can only lurk, but I'm here looking like it's filling out with that dopeness. Hey, what's up, Chaos Conclave? Oh, Namer. What's up, man? No worries. Come lurk. It's filling out with that dopeness. Chaos Conclave. For those of you guys who don't know, I don't want to say up and coming because that sounds a little disingenuous, but good friend of the channel, good friend of me, Tanner, in real life, and Chaos Conclave is working on a fantastic game that he needs to get out there to the masses. I can't wait to talk about it. So he's a busy man. He's also a moderator on the Discord channel. Plug. By the way, Crawl, if you want, it's pinned on the top of the chat. But come say hi in Discord sometime, man. We'd love to have you. We're over 50 people strong in just a few days, so we're building a tight community of dungeon crawling fans. So the fossilized map, I think could be a cool treat for this room. But how do we get it? Like, I want at least one fun, interesting encounter in the archaeologist camp. Could maybe throw a whip to be found, weapon. Hell yeah, I'll drop in. Awesome, man. Welcome. Could maybe throw a whip to be found, weapon, and another way to cross gaps. Yeah, treats for this room, so fossilized map and like whip. Classic whip. Party finds group of lizard folk around a pit. Jack's check to uncover dust off dino bones. Lizard folk ancestors. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, because the dinosaur is going to be the final boss. So yeah, maybe it's not a fossilized map, but it's like fossilized dino bones teases final boss encounter. Fossil skeleton gets put together and animates map is lodged in its chest. Whoa. Oh man, what happened to my what? Not enough memory to open this page. What happened to my chat? That's not good. Alright, we're at the halfway point anyway, so let's take a quick 5-er, guys, if you don't mind, we can take a bio break if you guys want to get up, get a drink, use the restroom, whatever. I'm going to figure out what's going on with my chat, and we'll be back in a moment. All right, I'm back. Quick little break. Thanks for everybody's patience. Yeah, and you know what, guys? To be honest, speaking of donations and saving up my ducats from content creation, I really need to upgrade some parts in my PC. I've been having a lot of memory issues with my PC here that I work on. And it's starting to get in the way of things. So I think that's actually a solid donation goal and something to put my, like I said, my earned ducats towards is upgrading my PC. Because that will definitely help me make better content for you guys. And I really enjoy live streaming. And I would actually like to start streaming games sometimes as well and just hanging out with you guys. But I don't think my PC is really able to handle it right now. So I think this should be okay for now. It looks like the chat is back. I see Chaos Conclave. Maybe the fossilized dino bones can show some weaknesses of the boss dino or grant some other advantage boon. I agree. Fossil skeleton gets put together and animates. Map is lodged in his chest. Not enough hamsters? Yeah, exactly, dude. I need more hamsters. Donation goal. More hamsters. So, fossilized dino bones. Teases final boss encounter. I like this idea. So, what I was thinking while I was using the facilities and microwaving the remnants of my coffee is that these lizard folk, they're dressed up like archaeologists. They're trying to act like they're smart cookies, but you know, they're goofy little lizard dudes. And I'm thinking they're like fighting. Like there's an encounter where two lizard folks are like fighting each other, kind of like scrapping over, we'll say, these fossilized dino bones. So the encounter two lizard folk kind of like argue. They're not like fighting to the death, but two lizard folk argue and fight over some recovered dino bones or dino fossils, but they're tiny, which is going to come into play later. Recovered tiny dinosaur fossils. And the players can interact with the lizards to get the fossil themselves. Something like that. So like they could like trade, you know, they could try to trade something, or they can like talk it out, or otherwise deceive the lizard people and get the fossil. I was also thinking, because of the randomized nature of this dungeon, it's going to be very difficult to like give the players a map. And I want to add to this idea that this is kind of like an unmappable environment because it's so wild. So it adds to this element of discovery. But I do like the idea of the dinosaur fossils, and I think the way that that can play into things is that there will be a sort of like puzzle or some sort of challenge that the players have to overcome to get into the floating island. And so if they get these bones, it will help them get into the island. So we'll say for now, it's just take the bones, acts as a sort of key to the floating islands. But of course, we can't lock access to the floating island behind getting these bones. It's just something that would help. 8 base got super small. Don't know what happened there. I always forget which header I'm using. All right. On that note, I think it's time we got to talk about the floating islands finale. And as we see here, it's time we talk about the Bionic T-Rex boss fight. And as you can see, I wrote "Hear me out." So if you guys were here for last stream, which I think most people that are in the chat, it seems, were here last time as well, Heroes and Homebrew suggested that there's a T-Rex with like bionic arms, and he's controlling something with a little joystick controller, which is just so ridiculous. But because I'm ridiculous and I think about these things all the time, I've really been thinking about how we can incorporate this into the dungeon. And so what I'm thinking is the floating islands is actually a spaceship, okay? And the spaceship is controlled This sounds so rad. I'm loving it. Yeah, man. I do feel like this is like right up your alley. The Crawl. Have you ever played D&D or like any other tabletop role playing game? I think you would be really into the old school revival movement in the tabletop community. Um, because it's really focused on that old school dungeon crawling vibe that, Etrian Odyssey and Wizardry and all those games were directly inspired by. Nelly-san says UFO. Exactly. Exactly. So the floating island is actually a spaceship. Oh, Stormblood, $5 donation. Here's my half hamster towards the call. Thank you so much, man. I really, really, really appreciate that. That's amazing. Stormblood, do you want... Okay, well, I feel like we have to name... I was gonna say, we named the T-Rex Rock. From I Travel Sometimes donation earlier. But Stormblood, let me know. Any NPC that you want to name. We can name them Stormblood if you want. Or we can name them something else. Let me know. Thank you again so much for the donation. Guys, that's so fucking kind of you. I gotta stop cursing. I feel like you guys don't mind. I don't know. Every time I get a donation, it makes me cuss like a sailor. Shoot! I really appreciate that, dude. I really appreciate that. It will go towards some hamsters for my PC that's chugging along on the floor next to me. So the floating island is actually a spaceship, guys, okay? It's a UFO. Spaceship, period. It's a UFO. Period. Will do, man. Yeah, just let me know. And it is controlled by Rock, the tiny T-Rex with little bionic arms. Because, T-Rexes have like tiny little arms. So he's like a T-Rex alien from some other planet or like distant dimension. And he flies this his kind. Maybe they originated from this jungle or whatever, but he flies down here, and that's really what he's here to do, is to get the egg. So everyone wants the egg. Oh yeah, I love playing. Even did some DMing back in the day. Started with GURPS, but I've played D&D, Pathfinder, and several others. I'm actually doing a video on solo TTRPG dungeon crawlers. Dude, that's amazing. I actually, at PAX Unplugged this past year, I picked up a couple solo games, and I've checked out Mythic GM Emulator, but I haven't tried it yet. I'm really interested in the idea of doing solo dungeon crawling, but I've just never gotten around to it. I actually am really fortunate enough to have a really consistent play group, so I play a lot with my friends. Having said that, I have a good friend, and a couple years ago, we had several good nights running some procedural solo dungeon crawls using old school essentials. And so it was two of us, so it wasn't exactly solo, but I wasn't necessarily the GM. Like, we created characters and we used the procedural generation system to just generate a dungeon and kind of navigate it together. We stayed up like all night a couple times, just kind of drinking the night away, doing this procedural dungeon crawl, and that was really fun. I can't wait to see that video, man. Not to get all industry during the stream, because everybody was watching, but I really have been meaning to hit you up about doing a collaboration. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to email you, or DM me on Discord, or I'll DM you on Discord if you join. And we should really talk about that, because I think it would be really fun. So, tangent aside, the Bionic T-Rex boss fight. So the floating island is actually a spaceship. It's a UFO, and it's controlled by Rock, this tiny T-Rex with bionic arms. And he controls the UFO with a little joystick controller. That's awesome. I got into solo stuff a couple years ago. It's a very different vibe, but I'm really enjoying them. Yeah, have you checked out, what's it called? Now I'm blanking because I'm on stream. Absolutely, yeah. We'll be in touch, man. What is it called? I got this cool solo game. It's not necessarily an RPG, but it's like a solo tabletop adventure game, and I'm blanking on it. I would go get it, but I have my green screen set up right behind me, and it's on my shelf behind the green screen, and I don't want to contend with that at the moment. But it's really going to bother me now. Lizard folk are the descendants of the original crew of the spaceship, which is broken. T-Rex can only go up and down. Cyborg, so still goes on basic directive of get egg. Get! The lore. That's awesome, I know, Sharon. So the lore. Exactly. This is exactly what I was thinking. Great minds think alike. Thanks for getting me back on track here. So the lizard folk are descendants of this ancient... The crawl. It's called Miru. It just came into my head. Miru. Okay. The lizard folk are descendants of this ancient dinosaur peoples. The spaceship is broken. I like that a lot. Can only go up and down. I also like that. That makes sense. And he's a cyborg. And we'll say like he was designed, he's a cyborg designed only to pilot the ship. And the egg can be used as fuel to repair the ship and take it back to its home planet. And so this is like the big twist with this lore that we laid out in the beginning, that like every so many years this floating island descends, and it has like trees and vines and things growing off of it, but it descends from the heavens and it floats in the middle of the jungle. And what's happening is that Rock, the T-Rex dino cyborg, is looking for the egg that he hopes can fuel his spaceship and kind of like save his peoples or whatever. And so we'll just write a note here. This is the true origins behind the legend that the three factions tell tales of. Oh, Dana, looks awesome. It's sick. I gotta run, but it was a good chat, man. I'll hit you up again soon. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I got a little off track there, but yeah, man, take care. And let's be in touch and check out Miru. It's really cool. So this is like the twist. So the players get into the dungeon, and this whole time they're thinking, you know, this is a typical, not typical, you know, but it's just like an ancient, spooky, mysterious floating island. But the kind of like wacky twist at the end here is that it's a UFO that's piloted by this this tiny T-Rex. And while we're on this note, while we're on this trail of thought, I think it would be fun to start fleshing out the temple encounters itself and like the boss fight. It's not an egg, it's the power core of the ship. Exactly. Exactly, man. It's not an egg, it's the power core to the ship. And earlier, like, the original thing was that it was this, like, Lovebird's egg, but I'm thinking, like, maybe the Lovebirds didn't lay the egg, but they, like, the Lovebirds have, like, never had an egg, so the birds are just protective of the egg. Maybe call the ship the Storm, the ship's power source mistaken for natural wind, lightning, and thunder. Yes, Stormblood. Yes. That is incredible. I love it. Thank you so much for your contribution. And then it's like, ooh, you know what we should do? Is make it like an anagram. You know? And, what does storm stand for, guys? Hey dude, good stuff. I'm listening along in the background. It's getting me psyched up to do some prep I've been putting off. Get your prep done, Yarg. AKA, I don't know if you want me to call you your other name. But yeah, welcome to the chat. Thanks for coming in, dude. Absolutely, says Stormblood. Guys, Yarg is my guildie. I have recently gotten back into World of Warcraft in quite a big way. And I've been tanking dungeons, and Yarg has been my stalwart mentor. It's been teaching me a lot. It's been a lot of fun. So everyone say hi to Yarg. He's also a dungeon master. And so while we've been playing WoW recently, we've been talking about how there's a lot of parallels between being a tank in World of Warcraft and being a dungeon master in D&D. Because you're kind of like the leader of the pack, and you have more responsibility to understand what's going on. Yeah, Tam or Yarg, either is fine. So yeah, there's a lot of parallels there, and it's been a lot of fun. Anyway, I don't want to start talking about WoW because I'll go way off on a tangent there. What up, pal? Hey, Elder Goblin Games, what's good, man? More people are flowing in. I know Sharon says, uh-oh. We've got some plot hooks here. It is an egg, but the power core of the ship looks like an egg. You can see some cave dwellings at the archaeology camp that won't have to co-text until the ship reveal. Context until the ship reveal. This ties everything together. You're nailing tanking fast. Yeah, thank you so much, Tam. Yarg. Hee Also, what's up, Elder Goblin? Thanks for joining, man. Always love to see you here. Also, I know Sharon, I agree with you. Okay. So let's come back up to the top, to the lore a little bit. And by the way, guys, last stream, I think I was doing perhaps a better job of weaving some lessons into this stream. But you guys keep hitting me with these great ideas, and this is often how I work. So when you see, like, if you go and check out Rotten Foundations, it's a very clean... Nah, you're all good, man. I know what you meant. Context. But it's like a very clean, distilled final product. Like, my prose is very pulled back. Like, it's only the most essential words. But as you can see, even if I'm not on stream, when I'm ideating and I'm working on a dungeon or I'm prepping for my campaign, like Yarg needs to do, I tend to be very all over the place for a long time, and it's chaos. And then what you have to do is start slowly distilling it all down to its core parts. So I know we're doing like a lot of jumping around, but at the same time, I think this is a really fun and organic way to show you guys or anybody watching in the future that if you're interested in dungeon design and encounter design, and this is what you love doing, you know, don't be intimidated or don't get down on yourself if you feel like you can't, you know, write the perfect dungeon design or like the perfect encounter design on the first shot, because it doesn't happen that way. You know, you're not pulling an espresso shot and you just get the base, the core thing right away. It's like, first you got to go pick the coffee beans, you got to dry them out, you got to grind them, you got to put them in the machine, you got to learn how to pull the shot, and then at the end of all of this, you get your dungeon at the end. That was a wild analogy, but I hope it makes sense. You're finally streaming at a time that works for my time zone. Perfect. Yeah, I want to, I'm going to keep experimenting with stream times. It's kind of tough because of my time zone. My core audience is obviously like in the Western world, mostly the United States and Europe. But then, you know, we've got Tam in the chat. He's from New Zealand. I'm living in Japan, so we're kind of all over the place. But I'll keep trying my best to find some better times. Francois, just an idea, but maybe make the birds the descendants of the spaceship crew, since birds are descendants of dinosaurs. Yeah. I like the idea that the lizard folk are descendants of the dinosaurs, just because we're already going with like this wacky, zany kind of weird science fantasy vibe. But I know what you mean. And I went on a little bit of a tangent here. So it is an egg, but the power core of the ship looks like an egg. You can see some cave drill. Yeah. So, okay. So the egg, like italicized egg, the actual egg, The egg belongs to this lovebird couple and is stolen by the apes, I think. Sorry, I'm all over the place. No, Francois, do not apologize, homie. I don't know if you just, you know, like we literally just said, I'm all over the place. We're all over the place. So, I just want to make it clear, you know, like I appreciate everybody's ideas. So, even if I'm not able to fully incorporate them, it's not that it was a bad idea or that you're too scrambled. It's just that, you know, we got to throw everything at the wall and then we see what sticks. And we kind of develop things over time. So the egg belongs to this lovebird couple and it's stolen by the apes. The apes think that the egg gives them these magical properties. But the power core, which is the true treasure, is shaped like an egg. And that is what the lizard folk truly want. So conflict, we'll say, here is the apes stole the bird's egg. The birds want the egg back. The lizards want the power core. The eggs want the power core. The mystery. Where slash what is the power core? So basically, I don't know. I think this makes like a lot of sense, and we're really starting to see like the core conflict and story of the dungeon here. So yeah. And then when we go down to the archaeologist camp encounter, instead of fossilized, so the fossilized dino bones thing, I think this is how we tie in this tease that I know Sharon came up with. So it is an egg, but the power core of the ship looks like an egg. You can see some cave drawings at the archaeology camp that won't have context exactly. So rather than fossilized dino bones, I think it's like a shattered piece of terracotta, you know what I mean? With cave drawings depicting an egg-shaped item being like held up to the sky with like a flying saucer shaped a flying saucer above Tease's final encounter. So speaking of being all over the place, I feel like, so we got to decide, like, I feel like having a real egg and the power core is actually too much complication. So we're gonna have to make the final call here, and I'm thinking it's just the power core. And then, so when we say the egg in italices, we really mean the power core. I think the birds discover the egg. So the egg, power core. Is discovered by the birds and protected. Like they just, you know, they have their paternal instincts to protect the egg, but it's actually the power core. will be, and the apes try to steal it because they think it's an egg. The apes try to steal it because they think it's an egg that if they eat, they become immortal. Yeah, exactly. Like the birds are mistaken, they think it's their egg, etc. The apes want the egg because they think if they eat it, it gives them magical powers. Yeah, exactly, right? And then the lizard people, I feel like the lizard people need to, like, they don't know for certain, but... Or maybe, like, the lizard folk do know that it's this power core, but they don't want to be, like, forthcoming about it. The lizard folk know it's a power core, but they, you know, they're not going to be forthcoming about that. In Soviet jungle, power core egg warms you. Exactly. But they aren't forthcoming about it. Nigel doesn't know, I think. Nigel doesn't know. He is just hired here to help them find it. So then when we go down back to the archaeologist camp encounter, take the bones, take the terracotta. Nigel's an innocent bystander. Yeah, man, he's just, you know, he's just on his 9 to 5. He's just trying to get his bag. So yeah, the lizard people know. But I feel like they wouldn't be, like, fighting over it. You know what I mean? Like, they would already know. So there'd have to be... Maybe this is, like, more of, like, a stealthy encounter. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with, like, some conflict that would draw the player's attention. And then if they overcome this situation, they see the little piece of shattered pot that has this cave drawing on it. That gives them a huge clue. But I think them fighting over it wouldn't make sense. So maybe we can come back to it. But we know that the result of the encounter is that you take the terracotta and acts as a sort of key to, we'll say, to, like, unlock the mystery of the UFO. All right. So we have, I can go for about another half hour. What do you guys, I'm going to take a pause here, and for anyone still hanging out, let me know. Do we want to go to designing the 8 base? Do we want to design some random canopy encounters? Or do we want to flesh out the boss fight with Rock, the tiny T-Rex with lizard arm, or with bionic arms? Lizard people know from ancient stories and cave drawings too. Lizard folk are fighting over the exact meaning of. Yeah, something like that. That's a good idea. I know, Sharon. I'll write something along those lines. So, two lizard folk are complaining / arguing over the true meaning of the cave painting. We can say Nigel mentions that this happens all the time. Boss fight sounds most fun, IMO, says Stormblood. Totoro agrees. Yeah. So the lizard folk are complaining. Nigel says this happens all the time. And then I think it could, like, so take the terracotta, but we can say, like, confront the lizard folk. It could turn into a fight, or it could be navigated. with social skills. And then in the fight, like, the lizards can use the whips. So maybe it could be like, you know, they get into the lizard camp and then everything kind of goes tits up and it gets turned into a fight, or they manage to navigate the encounter in a way where it doesn't break out into a fight and they get the terracotta, or they at least see it. And it gives them an idea of what's going on. Okay. So I think we're going to go for designing the boss fight. Now, I don't know how many of you guys have played the rare N64 games, like Donkey Kong Country, or I'm sorry, Donkey Kong 64, or Banjo-Kazooie, or Conker's Bad Fur Day. But I was a huge fan of Donkey Kong 64 and the Banjo-Kazooie games as a kid. I played them a lot. They're probably my most played games in my childhood, at least. But the reason why I bring that up is because they have these amazing, wacky boss encounters. And so I really want to bring that energy to the final boss fight. And so the little T-Rex bionic guy, he's controlling the spaceship with a little joystick. But I was also thinking, like, we need to think about how he can, like, what the interior looks like and how he interacts with it. Like, is he up in a control panel and then he's like, I think that could be fun and cool. He's in a control panel and then he can manipulate the interior of the island, so he can kind of like set off traps and like shoot things at them, etc. And the players have to use their wits and the items that they get and skill checks to get through the island. And if they actually get to Rock himself, at that point he's pretty helpless, because he's like, you know, he's this tiny little dude. So once they get to him, they've basically defeated the encounter. So the boss fight itself is more like Rock controlling the spaceship and the players navigating around it. Side note, maybe there's a false power core eggs that are really a bird people. Another petrified relic. Oh yeah, like I see what you mean, like a petrified egg, like a false egg. Yeah, we can consider that. Maybe we'll put that in treats, because the false egg or petrified egg, it could be used as like a distraction, or as a way, caps lock. It could be used as a distraction or as a way to deceive the monkeys, etc. Now, Stormblood, I'm not insinuating that you meant it this way, and I think I get where you're coming from, but I do feel like this is a good learning moment. I think I brought this up last stream as well, but this is something I'm a huge proponent of as a dungeon master, and I'm not perfect at this, but we never want to come up with like gotcha moments in bad faith. You know, it's important to try to avoid creating a situation that basically leads the players on and then disappoints them. You know what I mean? So the reason why I bring this up is that I think the petrified or false egg is a good idea, but from a design perspective, right? Wearing our designer caps here, we have to think about what the egg could do for the players that is fun or interesting. Because if it was just like, oh, they thought that they found it, but it's actually just like a stinky rotten egg, you know what I mean? That's kind of like, you don't want the players, you never want to make the players feel like, haha, gotcha, you know what I mean? Because that's just bad feels. So again, not saying that that's what you meant, Stormblood, at all, of course, but I just think that's, you know, a good lesson. And it's something that I've been trying to keep in my noggin more recently as I design my homebrew campaign in these dungeons, is that gotcha moments are only fun if something cool happens as a result. Chaos Conclave. Storm, strategic terrestrial omega manipulator. The last ship sent to terraform a planet. I don't know. For someone that doesn't know, that was a pretty good one. I'm gonna write that down. I was thinking for T, terrestrial, definitely. Yeah. Strategic terrestrial omega manipulator. Yeah. And I agree, like the last ship sent to terraform the planet. So dude, the timer. The egg timer. So, the island. I'm saying it's treats, but yes, I know what you mean. Bird egg hatches and they get a little buddy that maybe can group heals. Maybe the petrified one glows in the direction of the real. Ooh, yeah, exactly, dude. Core engine egg. Yeah, dude, exactly. All great ideas. So, the islands will terraform the jungle, destroying it entirely. Oh, it's all coming together. All right, stick with me, guys, for a second. Let me cook. So the island will terraform the jungle, destroying it entirely. If the power core is activated. Then this goes to the archaeologist camp. So the cave drawing depicts the reformation of like the world. So essentially this cave painting, maybe it's like several pieces that can be put together. I'll just write this down because we're cooking right now, guys. Throughout the dungeon, they can like put together several pieces of the terracotta. So several pieces need to be put together. The lizard people are fighting. Oh no. Yeah. The lizard people are fighting because they lost them. Over losing several pieces of the prophecy pot. The pot of prophecy. The pot of prophecy. Which gives the players motivation to keep navigating through the dungeon and put it together. So as several pieces need to be put together, reveals the true motivations of Storm. So as the players are navigating the dungeon, they slowly put together what's happening. So I'm thinking maybe 3 pieces. So like the first piece shows the lizard people with the egg. The second piece shows them like shows the egg maybe floating midair, you know, going towards the island in the sky. And then the third piece depicts the jungle being destroyed and regrown. Monkey like pretty art, so they want the terracotta too? Exactly. Monkey like pretty art. And then I want to get to Stormblood's ideas about the false egg or the false power core. Real egg, false power core. Because we're on the same page there, and I want to make sure we get your ideas in there, man. So several pieces need to be put together, reveals the true motivations of Storm. So 1, lizards taking egg from birds. 2, egg ascending to the UFO above. 3, UFO destroying jungle. I don't know if like 4 might be too much, but I want to also show the idea that the idea is that it would like vaporize the jungle, but then it would like regrow the planet for the dino people. Dino terraform, you know, we can get back to that later. Since we've got like 20 minutes left, I'll say for everyone still watching, I think we're gonna do one more stream on this dungeon to kind of work really tying it together. And I think we'll focus more on the map itself next week. And then after that, we'll have to move on. And then I'll get everything together and the dungeon will be up on DriveThruRPG and the Patreon when it launches soon, for everyone to enjoy. And again, everyone that's contributed ideas will be thanked and credited in the dungeon. So real quick, Stormblood, bird egg hatches and they get, I like that, you know, the bird egg hatches and they get a little buddy, like, come on. Also, Stormblood, since you, we named the island after you, but since you you doubled the donation to name, if you want, you can name the little guy. You want to name the little guy? Bird egg hatches and they get a little buddy. Egg hatches and they get a little buddy. I like the little buddy. Group heals, yeah. Or it glows in the direction of the real one. Ooh. Man, I like both options, you know? There could be multiple actual eggs because there's birds all over the place. And again, there's going to be these random encounters. So I think maybe one of the eggs will hatch into a little buddy. One of the other eggs glows in the direction of the real one. I think that's a really good idea. That would require a little bit of prep work though for the GM ahead of time to decide. Haha, no, I think that's on the player's name. Oh yeah, that's true. Good point. Good point. Thanks for keeping me grounded. Nelly-san, the little buddy glows. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe the little buddy just like knows which direction to go. He has like those instincts, you know. They say like when little baby birds are born, I don't know why I said they say. They say that animals are born with instincts, guys. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I believe all of that, but that's what they say. Yeah. Well, we'll work on that because that's going to be one of our random. It's going to be one of our random Canopy encounters. Little buddy. Bird egg hatches. Mama. You know, we always see that thing in like cartoons or whatever, like the chicken egg hatches and then the little chicks, like immediately the first thing they see, they think it's their mom. Or I remember in the original Pokemon anime, like Togepi hatches and sees Misty, I believe. And so Togepi thinks Misty is its mom. So the bird attaches and it's like, mama! Becomes attached to the first player it sees. Flutters towards it. Yeah, exactly. Why not both? LOL. Little buddy heals and glows and knows the way. The baby knows the way. Clumsily. Yeah. Clumsily flutters in the direction of the power core. And then it glows when it gets close. Glows when it gets close. Hot or cold. Or it, ooh, maybe it glows when it gets close or far. So, playing on the hot or cold thing, glows deeper red as players get closer to the power core. Glows a deeper blue when players get further away from the power core. I love this idea. I'm just gonna add a note at the top because when I'm writing the final product, there's always like an intro, a little beginner section for the GM. So we'll make a little thing here. Prep guides. So the GM needs to determine a few things. What room the power core is in. Well, I guess that's really it. Needs to determine what room the power core is in, because the terracotta pieces, the little buddy egg, etc., I think can still be randomly found. But I'll just write them down so we don't forget. So what room the power core is in, randomly determine where pieces 2 and 3 of the cave paintings are, where the little buddy egg is. It's why the bird folks nested here, drawn to the mystical power of the cure, ties it all together. Exactly. Check my earlier comments, please, Paladin. Smiley. Oh yeah, sorry, man. You can have fun with terraformed rooms inside the temple, ice room, desert room, flood storm room, etc. Ooh. End of each room has clues to solve the big puzzle. Yeah, dude. Thanks. We went on a tangent, but that's an excellent idea. Where the little buddy egg is. All right, let's go back down there. Sorry, my throat's getting a little dry. I'm gonna take a sip of water. Core. Yeah, I got you, man. Dude, no need to correct your spelling around this guy, okay? If you go back and watch one of my previous streams where we were designing the B dungeon, I the whole time I spelled B-E-A. Like, I don't even know what the heck I was thinking there. It just felt right at the time. I was like, I think it's whenever I stream, my brain just stops functioning, but I was convinced that's how you spell B. B-E-E just didn't look right to me. But, and that was like on my homepage of my channel forever. And it like mortified me, dude. It's like, it's on the internet forever. So I couldn't even spell the word B, and I'm a 30-year-old man, so don't worry about it. Anyway, I do want to implement Ino Sheeran's ideas because they're great. So strategic terrestrial omega manipulator, that is so fucking cool. Minecart encounter, but yeah, so terraformed encounters inside the temple. So ice room, like ice age room, kind of like ice age room, desert room, flooded storm room. Yeah, and I think we'll leave it there. And then end of each room has clues to solving the big puzzle. Going back up to the top too, I think it's important for the GM and everyone to know that because, so as we can see, like I really like the idea that the island has these 3 rooms in it that they need to navigate, and that basically acts as the final boss encounter. Having said that, as a one-shot, right, this could easily blow up into like a lot of content, which is not a bad thing, and I want this dungeon to feel really replayable. So I think it's important to make a note for the GM that the players should not be expected to go through every single room. And we need to use the timer mechanics and the pros and the lore of the dungeon to inform the players not to feel that way. So the players could come into this room, right, and then take the route like this to get into the island, or come in over here and kind of go around and get on the island like that. But that's why I also wanted to use this randomly generated nature to the rooms. So the GM doesn't have to feel like he or she or they have to force the players to go through all the rooms, and then the players don't feel like they have to go through all the rooms. It keeps it fresh, and then as a GM you can run this dungeon over and over again, and it's going to be different every time. And even as a player, it's kind of like that Curse of Strahd effect, where like even if the players replay the adventure, because so many things are randomly generated, they can still have a fresh experience with it. Exactly, says Stormblood. Exactly, homie. You know what I'm saying. I know some people who would pay good money to visit the dungeon of the Fire Bay. Yeah, dude, I think that was the thing. It was like in my head, I was like, dog, she's not B, she's Bay. You know what I mean? And it was just very embarrassing. All right. Prep guide. GM needs to determine also random nature of the dungeon. Was gonna say, do it like storage. Oh, Strahd? Did you mean Strahd or storage? If you meant storage, I'm not sure what that is, but please let me know. A slight variation of Storm. Strategic terraforming orbital robotic module. Yeah, Strahd. I know. I thought I knew what you meant, man. Francois? You salty dog, Francois. That is hilarious. I really like that too. So, strategic. I'll keep both, but yeah, strategic terraforming orbital robotic module, or strategic terraforming orbital robotic manipulator, because it's like manipulating the Terra. I mean, I don't know, but oh shit, that's right, I forgot the R. LOL. Roaming. Yeah. Actually, that's true. None of us picked that up. We'll think about it, but yeah, I think like strategic terraforming orbital robotic module or robotic manipulator, I think is like kind of the perfect combination of your guys' ideas. I think missing the R is pretty funny and it fits the 90s absurdity. That's actually not a bad point. Someone could be like, what about the R? And then rock like this little dino. It's like, drats! Curses! I just zoned out so hard. Guys, ADHD, streaming, designing dungeons. What a combo. Missing the R is kind of funny. That's not a bad point. Nelly-san. We'll think about it. Because we're getting towards... I could keep going, but I also feel like 2 hours is kind of a good point. I mean, what are you guys thinking? Do you guys want to keep going? The missing R is for rock. Ooh, not a bad idea. Do you guys want to keep going a little bit longer, or do we want to wrap it up? We've been streaming for 2 hours, which is crazy. Time really flies. I could go maybe for a little bit longer. The R is for rock. Yeah, I actually really like that too. Yeah, dude. Exactly. The R is for rock. The robotic manipulator. I'm down with your stream, brother. Yeah. The robotic manipulator. Well, it's our stream. It's our stream together. I think the thing too is like I'm still so new to streaming that to me 2 hours feels like, man, are you guys still... Now it sounds like I'm compliment farming, but it's like, I don't know. In my head, I'm like, are you guys still like engaged? Are we getting bored? You know, I don't want to draw it out too much, but then I guess a lot of streamers will stream for way longer than 2 hours, right? So I don't really know. Maybe let's go for a little bit longer, but to be honest with you guys, I'm also getting a little hungry. I had a little yogurt for brekkie, but it's almost noontime here, and so your boy is getting a little hungry. And when your boy gets hungry, he gets cranky. Not really. I'm not cranky at all, but I'm just getting kind of hungry. That's the point. All right. But we're kind of on a roll here too, and I don't want to lose it. I can Captain America this stream, bro. I can do this all day. Heck yeah, homie. Oh my god, $5 more from Stormblood. Other half of the hamster for the enjoyable content. Thank you so much, dude. Guys, holy shit. $50 today. Well, Stormblood, now you gotta name somebody else, man. Thank you so much, dude. Now we can stick around a little bit and name a dude. You want to name a bird? You want to name a monkey? You want to name a lizard? Something else? We got Storm. That's badass. But yeah, this is really coming together. Nah. Alright, man. Well, that's up to you, but I really appreciate it, dude. Seriously, thank you so much. The support means a lot. I pass it to the chat. There you go, chat. Well, we can't let Stormblood down. We got to come up with a fun name. We need a bird. So we have we've got Nigel, who represents the archaeologist faction. We've got Chimpanzee, who represents the apes. We've got Rock, the T-Rex boss. And then we've got Storm, which is the name of the ship that he pilots. Go as long as you want. As long as you're engaged, we're engaged. Heck yeah, man. Yeah, I think we'll go for maybe like another... We'll see. Maybe another 20 minutes or so. Half hour. And then I'm probably going to call it so I can get some food. All this egg talk is making me hungry. But so we need a bird. We need the bird that kind of like represents the birds. And in fact, we keep talking about this lovebird couple. So I think we should name the lovebirds. The burbs, where are they? Yeah, exactly. We've been kind of neglecting the birds. The lovebird couple. So I'm thinking like the couple that kind of like, you know, they kind of talk like this or something, and, you know, we've got, you know, the husband, he kind of talks like this. He's very nasally and, oh, like we've always wanted a baby bird of our own. And then the wife, you know, it's like the same thing, but she's more up here. Birdman. Elder Goblin games with the poetic naming conventions. Harvey Birdman? We can name the husband Harvey. He's an attorney at law. Harvey. And then we need an H name for the wife because they have to, their names have to be, they have to share alliteration, you know? But I like Harvey for the husband. And I kind of want him to wear glasses. I don't know. It just feels right. And then, like, Harry, I don't want to steal your guys' thunder. But like the word that came to me immediately is Harriet for the wife. Helga. Oh my god. Hildy, Harriet, yep. Oh, Simon Templar. What's up, man? Came out of nowhere. Husker Du. Heidi. Hildy, Heidi. You know what we're gonna do, guys? Oh, Loopy Lion. What's up? Oh, thanks for joining, Loopy Lion. I remember your comment from my NPC video. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you've been having fun. Henrietta. That's a great name. But you know what we're going to have to do, guys? Wait, how many do we have here? Happy Friday. Just jumped in the chat. Yeah, no worries, man. Happy Friday. Thanks so much for joining. It's actually Saturday for me here, but happy TGIF to all my homies in the West. If nothing else, the hatchling little buddy can be, side note, recommended to be called Hungy if the group doesn't name him, as an inside joke for those that were here when this was created. Yeah. Little buddy. Possibly named Hungy. Well, he could just say like Hungy, you know, because he's a little baby bird and he needs to eat. It says Hungy. Easter egg, no pun intended. Easter egg for the chat dwellers. Use all the names. It's a polycule. Yeah. I mean, we could have like a random name table, or what I was thinking is like we could roll a d6 right now because I have a dice set here on the table, and we can let the dice decide. Because we got Helga, Hildy, Harriet. Husker Du is some craziness. Heidi. Henrietta is just a great name. And Helen. Protect little buddy at all costs. Give us silky. Give us smooth. I know what you meant, but when I just read that out of context, like with a blank, with nothing in my brain, I was like, what the heck are you talking about, bro? Hungry, hungry, hungry. Yeah, exactly. Yep. You went there too. Okay. Wait, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Husker Du means do you remember in Swedish. Oh, really? Very interesting. I had no idea. All right, so this is what, 7? This is 7 names. Hey, yo, what's up, Drift Speed? How's it going, man? Welcome in. Yeah, it seems like more people are flowing in now. So we'll stick around. So Drift Speed, actually, since you just hopped in, give us one more. We're really coming at you fast. The Dark Souls burbs, obviously. Oh my god, dude. The birds in the Dark Souls games are horrible. I hate them. But yeah, Drift Speed. Since, pretty good. Glad to hear it, man. If you want, I'm really throwing it right at you here. But we're coming up with names for a lady lovebird. Or lady presenting lovebird. And we need one more to make 8. And then we can roll a d8 and decide their name. So right now we have Helga, Hildy, Harriet, Husker Du, Heidi, Henrietta, and Helen. Needs to start with an H because we're naming her husband after Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. And I don't make the rules. I just follow them. So if you want to hit us with one more female H name, we'll roll a d8. Hallie Hots. There you go. Hallie Hots. Alright, guys. So, this D8 that I hold before me is part of the first ever dice set. The ladybird likes to say, pretty bird, pretty bird. Harriet. Do we not have Harriet? Oh, we already have Harriet. But yeah, alright. That's okay, because we've got this D8. And I just want, this is the first, this is from the first polyhedral dice set I ever had. So we're gonna give it a roll, guys. And I wish I had a dice cam, but you're just gonna have to take my word for it, because I don't want to grab my webcam and move it around and create a kerfuffle. But here we go. We're rolling. So obviously, yeah, we'll just go down the line with the numbers. Good luck. 3. We rolled a 3. Harriet. Drift speed. You called it, bro. It was fate. Alright, so the female bird is named Harriet. So it's Harvey and Harriet. And Harriet likes to say, pretty bird, pretty bird. We rolled that bone. We did it. Alright. So Harvey and Harriet are the 2 lovebirds. And we named them thanks to Stormblood's very generous contribution to the channel. Which is definitely going to, I think, an upgraded CPU. And maybe even some RAM. I mean, I don't know. I don't know much about computers, but like I need to do something about this. Fitting. Yeah, exactly, man. All right. So because some people are still flowing in, we're gonna go till 12:30. So drift speed. I know you just came in, but what we're doing, I want to keep working on this. Okay, well, I'll throw it back to the chat. Do we want to keep fleshing out the storm encounter, similar to Ozzy and Harriet, an old TV show? Okay, all right, I'll look that up. I'll put a note here. I do like putting in pop culture. Who doesn't like a good pop culture reference? Ozzy and Harriet. Yeah, man, I will hit you up. I know, Sharon, for the computer help. Get you a snack, bro. Yeah. Actually, do you guys mind if we take another $5? Would that be okay? I'll grab a quick snack, and then we'll go until we'll go for like another half hour. While I'm gone, think about this. We'll do a poll. What encounter do we end the stream with? Yes or no? Storm or birds? Because Totoro brought up a good point that we've been kind of neglecting the birds. But I'm going to throw up that poll. I'm going to go get me a snack. And I'm going to be back in like 2 minutes. So everybody stick tight. Hello. The only thing is, alright, I'm back by the way. If so I'm munching on a snack here, but if you can hear me like eating, please let me know. Because there's nothing that gives me the ick more than somebody chewing into the microphone. For anyone wondering, I've got some. These are actually kind of. One second. I don't really like cheese flavored shrimp crackers. Very Japanese, but not my favorite. I'm just gonna go grab some almonds real quick. Sorry, I'm back. There's only so much I can handle with the cheese flavored shrimp crackers. I didn't realize they were cheese. Regular, normal, plain shrimp crackers are fine, but I can't do the cheese. I'm just gonna eat some almonds here. Anyway, we're back. What's the storm encounter? So, Drift Speed, the storm encounter is this, like, spaceship. Man, if you come in late to the stream, you're probably like, what the hell is going on? So we're still workshopping it, but STORM stands for Strategic Terrestrial Omega Manipulator, or Strategic Terraforming Orbital Manipulator, and it's missing the R, because the R stands for Rock, who is this bionic T-Rex alien who is piloting a UFO in the middle of a verdant jungle. Omega Death. Yeah, for sure. Omega sounds pretty cool. Loopy Lion says Ozzy and Harriet TV show was about the Nelson family. One of the two sons of real-life parents, Ozzy and Harriet, was Dreamboat son Ricky Nelson, who had a hit song, I'm a Traveling Man. Very interesting. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, dude, I mean, I feel like, you know, it's pretty cut and dry. Like, this is a pretty generic dungeon. But yeah, Loopy Lion, I'll look into that and see if we can weave some more references to Ozzy and Harriet in the dungeon. Yeah. The UFO is also an ancient temple. But, I mean, that's pretty par for the course, you know? I feel like we don't even have to clarify that, you know what I mean? Like, obviously. Alright. The poll is in. And Birds won by a landslide. So we're gonna come up with some bird encounters. Where are we at here? Alright. So obviously, one of the encounters has to be Harvey and Harriet. Harvey? There we go. So the players can run into Harvey and Harriet. And in doing so, they learn about their missing egg and like what's going on here. So let's start fleshing out the Harvey and Harriet encounter. So I feel like as players approach, weaving in Loopy Lion's idea. So like as players approach they hear... The bird is the word, Stormblood. So as players approach, they hear a crying, high-pitched voice saying something like, "Oh, my pretty bird. We'll never find them." Something like that. And then Harvey can be consoling his distraught wife. Like now, an Archaeoraptor squad def needs to be in the robot dinosaurs grunts. An Archaeoraptor squad. So Drift Speed, one of the factions are these lizard people that are dressed up like archaeologists, like the Wild Thornberries or something, or like Indiana Jones, and they're trying to pretend like they're this legit archaeological expedition, but they're, in actuality, they're the descendants of this like ancient dinosaur alien race that wants to recover the power core of the floating dungeon. Very typical stuff. So perhaps the lizard people are actually Archaeoraptors, which sounds really cool. Archaeoraptors. But that works because basically they're aware, they know what's really going on, but they're trying to be slick about it and they don't want anyone else to know. But we've got birds and monkeys and the players all getting caught up in this jungle crawl, or this canopy crawl, to find the power core. So Harvey and Harriet, as players approach, they hear a crying, high-pitched voice. She's crying about her bird. Harvey's consoling his distraught wife. "Oh, the king has arrived. Archaeoraptors." "Why do you do this to me, bro? They must all communicate in verse." Maybe one of them is an Archaeoraptor. Yeah, dude, okay, so the lizard folk encounter that we had earlier, where did we write that? Yeah. I feel like one of the lizards has to be rapping. Sup, just drive by helloing, no worries, that would be so good. Yeah. Everybody say hi to the king of rap and ridiculous ideas. Okay. But bird encounters, guys. Bird encounters. So the players hear Harriet crying. Harvey's consoling his wife. And then obviously, so we can say speak with the lovebirds. The couple explains that a gang of apes stole their egg. The little hatches into the little guy. And they need their help getting it back. One of them has a bunch of big gold chains around his neck and baggy pants. Yeah, exactly. 2 chains, but I got me a few on, you know what I'm saying? And they need help getting it back. Okay. So we can flesh that out more, but obviously, and then because this is happening randomly, the players might have already found the egg. Or they might not have yet. So that's Harvey and Harriet. Now, Let's come up with like two more basic bird encounters. Last time we were talking about like a billbeak, and I'm also thinking like some bird dive bombers kind of situation. But also, how would I feel like there needs to be a way that the players like interact with the birds, that the birds become their friends, and the birds can, excuse me, they can help the players. So maybe like Harvey, Harriet, speak with lovebirds, um, save the save the egg. So like if the players agree to save the egg, um, maybe like Harriet gives them a tuft of feathers, um, which like signifies to the other birds that they are friends, not foes. The birds. So if they meet the birds and then they learn more about their tragic story and whatnot, then the benefit of that is basically they can avoid the bird encounters. Make the billbeak a toned down version of a Canopy-Crawl. I have no idea what that is. Dare I pull up my Google on live stream? Or do I use my phone? Not that I have anything to hide or anything. I need to be more prepared to Google. Canopy-Crawl. Oh my god. A legendary creature from Ethiopia, first described by Pliny the Elder and later by Claudius Alanus. One known descriptor of the Canopy-Crawl. Yeah, I'm just gonna Google this for you guys real quick. Again, set as typing. If befriended, avoid birds. Oh yeah, dude, Stormblood, we are like linked, bro. We are like on the same page. Its abilities and feel is similar to a billbeak. It's a D&D monster. It's a stinky cow. Oh, okay. Let's see. Cat o flip pass D&D monster. Let's check this out. Oh my god. That is a scary looking creature, man. Canopy-Crawl had the large body of a buffalo, which sat atop squat legs that resembled those of a pachyderm. Its head resembled that of a warthog and sat atop an elongated neck that seemed ill-suited for actual support. Perhaps the most terrifying feature of these beasts were their large and deadly bloodshot eyes. Whoa. Yeah, you know what? This is actually like a really cool idea for my my homebrew world, which I'm not quite ready to talk about yet, but an upcoming stream very soon we'll be revealing more about that, and so thanks for the inspiration on that. But yeah, we can put a note here similar to a, although I was thinking billbeak is like a bird. So are we thinking of like a dinosaur or something that's like a billbeak? Kind of pass. Its ability to feel, yeah. So there's a gap between two trees that the players need to cross. There are 3 birds next to the huge catapult, a red one, a blue one, and a yellow. Go on. Bird catapults. Three birds next to and huge catapults. Red, blue, yellow. They stand around. We're gonna come back to that in a second, I'm sure. They stand around in stinky marshes like bilbeaks, and they have an ominous feeling that is very similar. I ran into 4 of those at level 5 through 6. We ran, and it was a very unique horror. Oh, Angry Birds reference. That's crazy, man. I really like that idea. I'm gonna look into it. I do like the bird catapult idea as well. I'm trying to think though. So how would that work in the context of like D&D? And I could like catapult them to other rooms or something like that. Stinky marshes. We need like at least one bird encounter that is like, it's like an intense combat encounter, because that will give more weight to Harvey and Harriet giving them the friend card basically, right? So maybe one of the trees, one of the canopy rooms is rotten, stinky, and covered in stagnant pools of filthy water. A massive bilby struts across the room, searching for prey. Quick note, don't need to fix it now, but looks like Discord link is broken. Oh no. No, thank you for letting me know. I don't know if yeah. Thanks for letting me know. I wish I could fix it now, but the thing is, I don't want to pull up Discord on this monitor just because I don't want to like dox people on Discord when I open it up. But if somebody, I think you guys should be able to generate a invite link, or if Totoro or Chaos Conclave are in the chat, they're my mods. So if one of you guys can throw a fresh link in the chat, that would be helpful. But thanks for the heads up, Stormblood. You could do the Angry Birds encounter as a planned combat. Do a unique ability for each bird based on the game. White and black birds also should be included. One throws eggs and one explodes. Yeah. Hold up, Totoro's on it. One of the world's most dangerous birds is the cassowary. Very deadly, says Loopy Lion. Cassowary. Oh yeah, these things. Yeah. These things are scary. Flightless birds. They're classified as ratites. And they're native to tropical forests of New Guinea. Yeah. Let's come up with a cassowary encounter. That's a great idea, Loopy Lion. I feel like the cassowaries can be like random roaming monsters. So you never know when they're going to show up, and they're really scary and deadly. So random roaming encounter. And they like what? Let's see. They like charge, don't they? Typically, all cassowaries are shy birds that are found deep in the forest. They're adept at disappearing long before a human knows they're there. Ooh, so they're stealthy. They lack a tongue. That's creepy. Behavior. They're solitary, except during courtship, egg laying, and sometimes around ample food supplies. Males and females each maintain separate territories that overlap. Yeah. So they're a random roaming encounter. They're stealthy. Surprise. Yellow birds should ignore armor. Yes. Cassowaries are very protective of young. They kick and peck. Yeah, there you go. Oh, like maybe there's like a baby cassowary that the players could mistake for Henry and Harriet's. Or Harvey. Harriet's baby. Which is a random roaming encounter. The cassowaries attack players that approach the baby. Players need to be cassowary of those birds. Heyo! Inspiration. Hero coin for Ino Sheeran. Yes, like a mini version of the actual egg quest. Exactly. Okay. And then the Billbeak encounter, it's like this massive Billbeak searching for prey. And then I think like it wants a fish. I was gonna say, it wants a fish. Give it a fish. But why would it fish? Whatever. None of this makes sense. Feed it a fish or something else. And it lets you pass. Big wondrous egg and smaller normal egg. Yeah, we've got like a lot of egg things going on. So drift speed, the idea with the egg is that so the egg that the players are after is actually the power core for the UFO spaceship floating island thing in the middle that's very standard and normal, and we all know what we're talking about here. But Harvey and Harriet had their egg stolen by the monkeys because the monkeys think that that's the power core. So I don't want to introduce too many more eggs just because it's going to start getting like really complicated. But I do like the idea that like the cassowary baby, because Harvey and Harriet refer to their egg as a baby, if the players find the baby cassowaries, they could think like, oh, that's Harvey and Harriet's baby. And then the protective cassowaries come running out, and that creates an encounter. I want a fish. That's the trout and nothing but the trout. Amen. Like lily pads in the sky full of water. The years of random terraforming energy can be used to handwave anything that doesn't make sense, like a fish in a tree. Yeah, dude, exactly. I'll write that as a note here for the preamble for the GM. Weird, like water and fish in trees, etc. All right. On that note, we've got 3 bird encounters. We've got the forest floor encounters. We've got the archaeologist camp. The Angry Birds encounter is kind of like complicated and it's a lot. I want to go back to that. But I think like the bird catapults, what I was thinking is because this is like the rough idea of what the dungeon is going to look like, right? So, the Angry Bird catapults could be set up around the dungeon, maybe, and then they can like shoot you around the dungeon, something like that. I think there's a distinct lack of egg-related puns in the adventure so far. Yeah, that's true. That is an excellent point, Ino Sheeran. An encounter with a talking parrot asking for the fruit of the Venus fly trap from the beginning. If the party has kept them, They can give it to the parrot and get something in return. Ooh, yeah. Bird barter encounter. A bird asks for a piece of fruit that the players could have or could encounter earlier or afterwards throughout the dungeon. Yeah, let's think about what the bird will give them. We'll give them something spicy in return. That's a really good idea. We could make it random, like it could be a random table, like a D6 or a D4 table. Ha, so many eggs and fish and bananas. I want breakfast. Yeah, dude. Is it breakfast time where you're at, Stormblood? I know, so much food talk. Last time we were talking about like a big giant omelet, and then it made me want a cheese omelet from Neopets. Like really bad. Okay. Having said all of that, we're approaching 3 hours here. So what we're gonna do is I think we can think of some items that the bartering bird would give players in return for a piece of fruit. And I might we're gonna call it there. And then next week, oh yeah, banana lore. Yeah, yeah, I think adding the banana, because last time we were talking about like a banana omelet, but to be honest, I think it's just getting to be a little much. So I think with like the bananas, I really want to add a stupid like slippery banana peel encounter. No man, it's 8:30 p.m. ish. Montana. Oh, Montana. That's awesome, dude. I've always wanted to go to Montana. Growing up, I did a lot of fly fishing. I really enjoy fly fishing, and I know that Montana has like world famous fly fishing. Speaking of trout, that's amazing. It looks really beautiful. Maybe one day. I'm also really into westerns. Growing up watching western cowboy movies and reading western novels and stuff. So, you know, Montana. I'm from Philadelphia, so I'm from a very urban area, but the wide open plains and the Wild West has always been very appealing to me. The bird brings a fish to the players to thank them. Inside the fish is a magical ring. There you go, Loopy Lion, and the Billbeak wants a fish. So there you go. We'll give them a fish in return. Inside the fish. I like the idea that the fish is kind of like still alive, and it's like in its final moments it like spits out the ring. Is a magic ring. And then the fish can be given to the Billbeak for passage. Best Western ever? Shane. It is great Western, that is for sure. I do really like Shane. It is probably one of, if not the best. I gotta agree with you, Loopy Lion. I'm quite partial to the Dollars trilogy myself. And I'm actually right now, I'm reading Lonesome Dove for the first time. And I'm really enjoying it. So the fish can be given to the Billbeak for passage. That's a great idea. What about this magic ring? What are we thinking, guys? Cool magic ring. Is it like a stealthy ring? Is it jungle spider backpack that has the web still working? Lets you not fall if you use an action to fix it. and snaps if you move 30 to 60 feet away. That is another dope item, and I think we can put that in like the rope vine swingy thing. So yeah, this was like another thing that I wanted to think about is like a couple fish ring water breathing. Yes. Which will tie into the water room. The water room in the floating temple. Let me see something real quick. I was thinking about the Discord. Sorry, I went on a tangent. It doesn't seem like it's broken to me. If anyone is in the chat that hasn't joined the Discord yet, can you click the Discord link and let me know if it works? In the conversation? Yeah, Shane's up there for sure. Snake ring, water breathing ring to help with the flood temple rooms, exactly. Make the water area giant tube plants so they're deep and things can be at the bottom. Yeah. Let's see. So Ice Age room, flooded storm room, giant tube plants, deep. The Discord, okay, so Chaos Conclave says, the Discord link at the top of the chat works for me. If it doesn't work for you, try to reload your browser and check if you have an ad block that might stop you from accessing the Discord. Good call. Thank you, dude. I just want to make sure because we are going to be wrapping up here soon. And if anyone is in the chat that hasn't joined the Discord yet, I would really like to invite you to join. It's turning into like a really awesome community and we are really only just starting. So we're going to be hosting game nights in the Discord. In the coming weeks, I'm going to be launching a Patreon. So there will be, and channel memberships. So there will be Discord benefits for that. It doesn't work for me because on mobile can't click. Can you post in chat? Yeah. I can't, but sorry, I hate to put you to work, man, but Namer, if you can throw the invite link, or Totoro, if you're still around, if one of you guys can throw the Discord link invite in the chat, I'd appreciate it. Because yeah, I think we're gonna kind of wrap up here, so maybe we'll just go into a just chatting mode for a minute, and we will do the final design stream for this dungeon next week, because we've got a lot of great ideas again, and so basically what I'm gonna need to do is go back and distill it all down. And then I think we're going to kind of bring it all together and kind of focus on the map for the final one. And I want to show you guys ideally kind of my process for actually writing the dungeon itself. Like show you my methodology and how I start writing like the actual prose and the room descriptions. So I'm going to need some time to kind of bring all this back down. And I think that's where we'll pick up next time. So Drispy, just hold tight for a second. We'll get that Discord link in the chat for you. I just can't. Let me see. Maybe I can do it this way. Yeah, no, I personally can't right now. My bad. But also, if you go to my YouTube channel and you go to the community posts, I posted the link. You might have to scroll down a little bit. It's probably like 3 posts down. And I'm fairly certain that that link is an evergreen invite link. So the link itself shouldn't expire. It opens Discord and doesn't bring me in. That's so weird. All right, wait a second. We're gonna have to do. Okay, well, yeah. I can just open it up here. That way I'm not really doxing anybody. Yeah. How about this? What? Hit and use copy button. Man. I'm really struggling on the Discord thing. Um, Joe Speed, if you hang tight, I will. I think Discord is blocking it because it knows that I'm streaming right now. So for privacy reasons, um, it won't let me see. But yeah, honestly, if you go to my YouTube page and you go to the community post, it's like 3 posts down, or if that's the one that you're saying doesn't work. Um, Regardless, we're gonna get you in there, man. But yeah, on that note, sorry to bring in some confusion, but on that note, I think we're gonna wrap up here, just because it's getting to be 1 p.m. here, and I do need to kind of get ready to go about my day. But Loopy Lion says Shane trivia. Minor character in Shane was Nancy Culp. Later in life, she was Miss Jane in Beverly Hillbillies. That's also awesome. In my homebrew campaign, I have hillbilly lizard people. Loopy Lion, you were just full of the trivia. I love it. So yeah, guys, link in description got me in. Perfect. Excellent. Welcome. Stormblood, you weren't even in the Discord. You're a fantastic member of the community, so you're very much welcome. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. This was a fantastic stream. I want to say, I mean, especially huge thanks to Stormblood and our friend I Travel Sometimes. We earned 50 buckaroonies this stream, which is incredible. I'm very humbled. And again, I just want you guys to know that all the funds that I earn through content creation at this point are going right back into the channel. So really, when you guys support me, you're supporting the channel, you're supporting all of us and helping grow the community and help me keep creating this sort of content for you guys and creating even better content for you guys. So yeah, hop on in the Discord, join the community. Be on the lookout for the stream next week. And if there are no final questions, we're gonna venture forth. Thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend. Be on the lookout for next week. See ya. Good night. Me too. Bye, guys. Have a good day. Thank you guys so much. Sorry, I put up the card, but I'm still sitting here. If you can still hear me. But yeah, I'm going to end the chat. The stream. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you.